The Bush administration has been the most fiscally irresponsible administration in our nation's history.
When President Bush came to office, there was a projected budget surplus of $5.6 trillion over the next 10 years, which turned into a $4.5 trillion deficit. That's a downward swing of $10.1 trillion.
Now, as President Bush leaves office, our nation is crippled with a projected deficit of $8.4 trillion over the next decade under his policies.
Similarly, the gross federal deficit, which is essentially what America owes on its credit card, has soared under President Bush to a record $10.4 trillion. That's approximately $35,000 per American.
Much of that debt is held by foreign countries like China and Japan. President Bush has more than tripled our country's foreign-held debt. He has amassed more than double the amount of foreign debt than all previous 42 presidents combined.
This historic debt forces us to pay more in interest payments than we spend on programs to educate our children, care for our deserving veterans, and invest in our homeland security combined.
President-elect Obama and the Democratic Congress are inheriting a huge financial mess from President Bush and congressional Republicans. It'll take years to overcome. And to make matters worse, it is at a time when we face the worst economic crisis in generations.
Economists from the left, right, and center agree that getting out of this recession will require significant deficit spending. But Democrats know that we must also create a long-term plan to restore our nation's fiscal health.
The American people can find solace with the fact that this will not be the first time that a Democratic administration has had to rescue our country from a Republican administration's fiscal disaster.
16 years ago, the Reagan and first Bush administrations left our country mired in debt. As a result of tough choices and budget discipline, Democrats turned the budget around. The Clinton administration balanced the budget and posted surpluses 4 years in a row. Unfortunately, President Bush quickly put our nation back in the red.
There's nothing to gain from pointing fingers at failures of past presidents. There's a great deal to gain from looking back honestly at the financial choices we've made in the past and their consequences. We learn just how much this painful legacy has complicated our efforts to confront our current economic crisis. We must strengthen our pledge to return this nation to fiscal responsibility. I look forward to working with President Obama and my Democratic and Republican colleagues to restore sound fiscal policy and build a strong economy, providing jobs and opportunities for the American people.